Hello, everybody. Myself, Sia Patle, a third year MBBS student from AIIMS Nagpur, and today we are back with another session of previous year question discussion. And the topic for today is biodiversity and its conservation. So, it is an topic from 12th NCRT biology, and the weightage of this topic in NCRT in the NEET exam is around 2 to 3 questions per year. Now, what is the important thing about this chapter is these 2 to 3 questions you can solve easily because from this chapter, the questions that are going to come are going to be fact based. And if you know the facts, you can easily solve this question and score your marks. So, it is really important to thoroughly revise this topic and understand what the concepts are being repeatedly asked. And to understand what the concepts are being asked, we are here to help you to analyze the previous year question, to solve the previous year question, to understand the key concepts and the high yield topics. So let us start our journey. Let us see what are the previous year questions being asked from this topic. So the first question that is being asked is which of the following region of the globe exhibit highest species diversity? So simply in the question, the examiner is asking you that among the given options, which of them will have highest species diversity? So you should just know what is species diversity. It is nothing, as the name is saying, that at a region there are various number of species. Species diversity means the number of species found in an area, and diversity means more different types. Okay, so which among the following will have different types of species? So what happens is wherever there is a tropical forest, wherever we have a tropical forest, we are going to have a rich diversity. And why only tropical forest is ideal for having so much of species diversity? It is because the tropical forests have good amount of temperature. The light that is available is very suitable. So these all suitable factors will allow the growth of many plants, and accordingly we have many species of animals also there. So it is very rich in terms of diversity, biodiversity. So we have to find the option where there are high number of tropical forests. Now we have one more point that I would like to share because this point might come to you as another question, that tropical forest contributes to about 20% of all the oxygen on earth. That is a big amount, 20% of the whole available oxygen. And therefore, for this reason, the tropical forests are also called as the uh, heart of, sorry, not heart, lung of planet. Correct? Now, the in the options A, B, C, D, we have Amazon forest. This Amazon forest, option number C, is a very dense forest that lies in the tropical belt. And yes, Amazon is a very vast tropical forest, contributing to about 20% of the total oxygen. And since it is a tropical forest, it has rich species diversification. So option number C is the correct answer. So let us move to question number 2 and try to understand what concept is being asked there. In question number 2, it is saying that Western Ghats have large number of plant and animal species that are not found anywhere else. Which of the following terms will you use to notify such species? So the concept of Western Ghats here in this question is not very significant. What they are asking you is lying in the other part of the question. That means they are asking, we have some plants and some animal species that are found only in an only in a particular area and not anywhere else, and not anywhere else. So the term for such species is, this is what the question is. So my dear friends, the things that are constrained or that are defined, refined and defined to a specific area are called as endemic. Now, since this is a generic term, this is not just for species or plants. This is a actually generic term used in our community to denote anything that is particular about a particular space. So the term is endemic. Now, since we are talking about plants and species, we can say endemic plants, we can say endemic animals, but even some diseases are endemic. Okay, so endemic is actually a commonly used term. So let us see option A, B, C. Option A is saying keystone. No. Option B is saying endemic. Yes. Option C is saying vulnerable. Vulnerable species are the ones that are facing loss in large number. They are facing extinction. That are what are vulnerable species. So it does not anyhow come in relation to finding some animal species in a particular area. That does not match. And again, threatened is similarly all the species that are being uh, suffering from great loss in number. They're facing endangering. They're endangering. Their numbers are becoming less. That is what is related to option C and D. But according to the question, endemic is the most appropriate answer. Okay. So mark option number B as your correct answer. And let us move to question number 3. All right. So in question number 3, they are asking in mung bean, the resistance to yellow mosaic virus and the powdery mildew were brought about by. Okay, so we have a plant like mung bean, and so there is a plant. What is this plant? Nothing but our mung bean, and it was being attacked by viruses and fungus. The fungus and viruses. So virus we have yellow mosaic virus, and fungus we have powdery mildew. Now what were these doing? They were destroying the plant. They were damaging the plant. But the plant has to survive. So the plant has to do something so that this fungus and virus can't affect it. So what is the plant going to do? So plant has to do something. It has to develop something so that it has to develop or do something. So what does it do? It does some kind of changes. It undergoes mutation. When the body is put under stressful condition, it is going to adapt itself, and this adaptation is brought about in such plants by mutation. I will give you very nice example. If you have seen the movie of uh, Deadpool, correct? So if you have seen this movie, you will understand how when the body is put under great stressful condition, it is going to mutate itself in order to survive. Okay, so that is what happens in this case also. The moonbeam plant is going to mutate itself. It is going to cause variation breeding such that after mutation and after variation breeding, there is going to be production of such traits. There are going to be desired traits that are going to be produced, which will not allow a virus or fungus to attack. Okay, it will become resistant to such virus and fungus. So, what is the thing that is helping the plant to survive is actually the mutation or the variation breeding. Mutation can be the variation. So, correct option is option number B. The option C and option D are actually not justifying the question that are being asked. So the correct answer for this question is simply option B. Now let us move to question number 4. Now in question number 4, the question that is being asked is which of the following is the most important cause for animal and plants being driven into extinction? Nowadays, we have seen that the animals and the plants are being greatly destroyed. The number is being falling drastically and they are being pushed towards extinction. So there are various different causes. Option A, option B, option C, and option D. All four of them are the causes for extinction. A, B, C are all factors that are causing extinction. But of these four, which is the most important? So it is very clearly given according to the stats and according to the book, it is very clearly given. The most important thing that is mm, causing extinction is the loss of habitat and fragmentation. We understand what is loss of habitat, that we are occupying their homes and they do not have homes. So they are forced to move away. That is going to cause fragmentation. Fragmentation, the habitat is broken, correct? Due to which the the animals of the species are being uh, sent apart from each other. There is going to be distance, and if there is going to be distance between the species, they will not be able to exchange the genetic material, correct? So due to which the population is ultimately going to decline and cause eventually lead to extinction. Okay. So the most important factor is option number A. Other options are also causing extinction, but the most important is option number A. So we have understood the concepts or the factors that are relating to cause endangering of plants, animals, or extinction of plants, animals. This was the concept in this question. So let us move to our next question and see what is the question. So question number 5 is asking us, which is the national aquatic animal of India? Now, this is actually a GK question, you can say, but this is a fact, and if you know the fact, you can answer that. So actually, the national aquatic animal, they're saying aquatic to be sure, they don't mark other animals, they're saying aquatic animal. So what is the aquatic animal? That is actually the river dolphin. Now, don't say that dolphins are not found in India. So how can we say that it is the national? But actually, it is the national, and it actually denotes the purity, just like the river Ganga. Okay, it denotes purity. So clearly, option number B is our correct answer. So let's get moving with our next question. So the next question is about cryopreservation of gametes of threatened species in viable and fertile condition can be referred to as. Now, first of all, to understand this question, you should know what is cryopreservation. Okay, my dear friends. So let us try to understand what is the concept of cryopreservation. Now, as the word is saying preservation, you do understand that it is meaning to store something, correct? And what is the term cryo? I just find that most of them must have heard it for the first time. Cryo means in cold condition. Cold condition. So ultimately, when we just try to join these two terms together, something or the other, we get an idea that it is something or other related to storing something in cold conditions, correct? Even you could have understood this much by now. Now, what is this cold condition? Do we have to store it in freezer? No. In cold condition, that is, you have to store it in liquid nitrogen at a temperature of guess minus 192 degrees. Okay, so this is what is cryopreservation. Now, in cryopreservation, you can store anything. You can store gametes, you can store seeds, you can store any viable cell. Okay. Now, in this question, they are asking you whether this is in situ type of preservation or ex situ type of preservation. So, one concept related to this topic we have discussed now is cryopreservation. But let us discuss the other concept that is being involved in this question is about in situ and ex situ. Now, as the name is saying, in situ, that is, it is going to happen inside, and X is means exit, that is outside. Now, since we are talking about in situ and preservation of gametes, so it is going to happen inside the natural habitat, correct? And when I say outside, what is outside? What do you mean outside? Outside means outside of natural habitat. So it can be in lab. Okay. Now let us try to combine these two topics of in situ, ex situ, and cryopreservation. So we know that in cryopreservation, we are supposed to store in liquid nitrogen at a temperature of 190 degrees Celsius, and it is such a cold temperature. Is it possible to store it somewhere in natural habitat or in situ? No, it is not possible. You have to store it in some labs. And if labs are involved, it means it is ex situ kind of conservation. So we have to find an option which says about ex situ. So if you go through the option, you have only one option, that is option number A, that is giving the option of ex situ. So clearly option A is the correct answer. So we have discussed the concept of cryopreservation. Along with it, we have discussed the concept of in situ and ex situ. You have to combine these both concepts and try to answer your question. Okay. So let us move to our next question, number 7, and try to find what is the question. See, the question number 7 is telling you in which of the following both pairs have correct form. So even in this question, the concept of in situ and ex situ is being studied. And right now, just now we have discussed what is the concept of in situ and ex situ. Let us try to use our knowledge and answer this question. We will read each of the options and accordingly we are going to answer. Okay. So in the first option, it is saying the in situ conservation is cryopreservation. Right now, we have understood for cryopreservation, you are supposed to grow it in labs. And if the labs are involved, it means it is outside the natural habitat. Hence, it has to be ex situ and not in situ. So, option A is itself wrong there and there. Now, let us move to option number B. In situ conservation is seed bank. Again, if there are seed banks, that is something which is maintained by man, and if it is being maintained by man is involved, it becomes naturally xc2. Okay, whenever there is involvement of man, it is going to be xc2. Therefore option B is also wrong option. Now let's see option number C. Option number C is saying in situ conservation is tissue culture. Okay, I want you to answer. If we are doing tissue culture, who is doing tissue culture? Man. If man is involved, what will that become? It will become X. So is option C correct or wrong? Yes, even this is wrong. So ultimately we have our answer as option D, but let us discuss it once again to be sure. So option D is saying in situ conservation is national park. Yes, national park is the actual habitat and there is no direct involvement of man. So yes, this is in situ, and in ex situ they have given botanical garden. So yes, there is habitat, but involves man, because these gardens are man-made, correct? These are man-made. So if they are man-made, it becomes XC2. So yes, option D provides us with the exact correct option, and the correct answer for this question is option number D. So again, here the concept of in situ and ex situ was being discussed. True. And just using this simple concept, we were able to solve this question. I hope you have understood this question and this concept. So let us move to our next question, number 8, and see what is question number 8 asking us about. Okay, see, again in question number 8, the question is about ex situ conservation. Now we have to find which among the options is one of the ex situ. For that, we have studied ex situ thoroughly. You will be able to solve it. But let us just read through the option and solve it together. Okay. So option A is telling me about national park. If it's a national park, there is natural habitat without any man. So it becomes in situ. Option A is wrong. It is not ex situ, it is in situ. Option D is B is seed bank. Yes, if we are storing some seed in a bank, there is going to be man involvement and it becomes XC2. So option B is one potential correct answer. But don't just blindly mark option B. Always have a glance on the other remaining options, because that is what I am telling you throughout all my sessions, that Even if you get the answer in the first, second option, that is very good, but don't be in a hurry. Have a quick glance over option C and option D. I'm not telling you to read the whole option, just have a quick glance so that you are damn sure and you will not make any silly mistake. Okay, my friends? Yeah. So we know option B is correct, but let us just see option C and option D. Option C is saying wildlife sanctuary, and option D is saying sacred grove. Both of them are in situ because there is no man involvement and they are going to occur in their natural habitat. So we can be sure about option B being the correct answer, and you can clearly mark option B as your correct answer. So this was about question number 8. We have revised the concept of XE2. Let us move to question number 9. So in question number 9, it is being asked, just as a person moving from Delhi to Shimla to escape the heat for duration of hot summer, civil what does this mean is that whenever we have very hot summers, like in North India, like in Delhi, you go to some hill station to feel all the cool breeze, correct? So similarly, this phenomena is done by many birds. These birds come from very cold region. They come from very cold region and try to migrate to some warm or some hot place. So these cold places are more more likely generally Serbia. So we have many birds flying from Serbia. They migrate and come to Rajasthan. It is a nice, warm, hot place. So birds try to come to Rajasthan and in particularly Bharatpur. So actually in Bharatpur, we have a bird sanctuary. You know that the people from Rajasthan might be knowing that there is a bird sanctuary, Bharatpur Bird Sanctuary, also called as the Keoladeo National Park. Okay, so here what happens? The birds flying are going to come and they stay here. Means they stay here till the month of March, most probably till the summer. Okay, so we know the concept. We are able to solve this answer. So correct answer is option number D, Keolado National Park, the Bharatpur Bird Sanctuary in Rajasthan. Okay, so that is what is the correct answer. We have discussed it. Now let us move to question number 10. So in question number 10, they are asking us the largest tiger reserve in India is present in. Now again in this chapter actually there is less of conceptual understanding and more of fact-based learning. This is one of those chapters where you have lot and lots of facts, but these facts are important because these are being asked repeatedly in your question. So you can't escape these questions and these facts. You are supposed to understand and learn this. So we are there to help you. You also try to revise it, and together we will be able to memorize these facts whatsoever they are, and we will be able to get these questions right and score good in our paper. So let us focus on this question first. In this question, they are saying the largest tiger reservoir. The largest tiger reservoir in India is again a fast fact-based question. Is present in Andhra Pradesh and is known as Naga Arjuna Sagar Srisalam. It is a tiger reservoir. Okay, that's it. So option C is the correct answer. Now let us move to question number 11. So in question number 11, they are again asking us which one of the following is not used for ex situ plant conservation. Okay, so the concept here is again of ex situ, but you have to know, my friends, whenever we are reading the question, we have terms like not, false, or whatever, mark it, then only you will be able to answer this question correctly. Or else, even if you know the answer, you are going to make a silly mistake because you are going to see it as asking about XC2 and you're going to find the option that is XC2. But in reality, they are asking you which of the following is not used for XC2. So they are asking which is in C2. Okay, this is what they are asking. So let us see option A, B, C, D and try to get an answer for this. So we know that seed banks has involvement of man, so it is definitely XC2. And second is shifting cultivation. Okay, keep a hold on this. We don't know what is shifting cultivation. So let's move to option C. Option C is giving about botanical gardens. These gardens are made by man. So since there is man involvement, it becomes XC2. So even option C is XC2. Now, let's move to option number D, field gene bank. Again, these are the gene banks that are being made by man. So even option D becomes XC2. So naturally, even if we did not know what shifting cultivation was, we were able to get a correct answer to this question by eliminating the options which we know. Okay. So actually, the in situ among all of them is option number B, that is shifting cultivation. Now, what is shifting cultivation? I think you might have read this in your lower class in geography that shifting cultivation is also called as home cultivation. Now, what happens here that we grow crops on an area of land, and after the crops are harvested, we are going to burn that place, and then we have to move to a new area and try to produce our new crops. And ultimately, since there is no such artificial environment and such, it is actually a natural habitat. So yes, it is a in situ conservation. So option number B is the most appropriate answer. I hope you have understood the concept as well as you have understood how to get to your correct answer even if you don't know the answer by simply elimination. Okay, so I hope it is clear. So let us move to question number 12. In question number 12, it is being asking which of the following in area in India is the hotspot for biodiversity. The first thing that you should know, what is hotspot. Hotspot are the area that are very rich in diversity. So we have seen in the first question, it these are actually the tropical forests. And in India, such tropical forests are seen in Western Ghats. So ultimately, Western Ghats is actually a very rich Western Ghats, right? Few points. It is a very rich bio hotspot and it has various endemic species. We have also discussed about what is endemic species, correct? So mark option D as the correct answer. And let us move to our next question and see what question number 13 is asking us about. So in question number 13, the question is asking sacred groves are specially useful in. Now for you to answer this question, you should know what are sacred groves, correct? Now as the name is saying sacred, when we hear the term sacred, we know it is something to do about with religious beliefs. There is something relation to God. So what happens? These are actually the lands, local lands, where the localites are going to protect, believing that these are religious to us, these are sacred to us, and they will not allow any deforestation. They will not allow any cutting of land. They will not allow everyone to enter. So ultimately, that area, this sacred land area, the small area that is being called a sacred land, is allowed to uh, have its natural habitat, and due to this natural, in uninvolved man there is going to be rich biodiversity. Okay, and this it has high biodiversity. Okay, so this is what the concept is, and let us try to apply this concept to solve this. So, is sacred groove specifically used in preventing soil erosion? Not specifically. Yes, if there is a forest, there is going to be prevention of soil erosion. But is it that we know sacred grooves for preventing soil erosion? No. We know them to conserve rare and threatened species, the option D, because nobody is going to interfere there. So all the endangered species or the threatened species can be grown carefully and safely there. So the most appropriate answer for this question is option number D. Okay, so you can mark option D as your correct answer and move ahead to see what is question number 14 asking us about. So in question number 14, they are asking which of the following is correct statement. So amongst option A, B, C, D, you have to read all the options and try to figure out which is the correct statement. So let us move ahead and try to read option number A. They are telling us large scale planting of BT cotton has no effect on biodiversity. Now, for that, let me explain you what is BT cotton. So, what is BT cotton? Okay. So, on cotton, we have the invasion, or we can say attachment of a bacteria, the BT bacteria. And what is the full form of this BT bacteria? It is actually Bacillus. Let me write it for you. Bacillus thuringiens. Now, what happens in short, we write BT. This bacteria has undergone genetic change and it produces a BT toxin. So, whenever any animal or insect is going to ingest, this toxin is going to get activated and will kill the insect. So, is it that BT cotton is having no effect on the biodiversity? No, it has some effect. It is actually declining our biodiversity. So BT cotton is declining our biodiversity. So option A is not a correct, it is the wrong one. So let us see what option B is saying. Option B is saying Western Ghats have high degree of species richness and endemism. Obviously, this is true. We have very endemic species and very rich biodiversities. So option B is eventually a correct statement. So we know that option B is a potential answer. But as I t- tell you every time, have a quick glance over option C and D so that we can be sure about option B and mark option B as our correct answer without making any silly mistakes. So option C is saying conservation of biodiversity is just a fad pursued by the developed countries. This option means that actually there is no need for doing bioconservation. It is just a show off which the developed countries are doing. Is it? No, it is not. It is actually the need of the hour. So option C is also a false statement. Let us see option number D. Option D is saying the desert area of Rajasthan and Gujarat have very high number of desert animal species as well as numerous rare plant animals. That is not true. We have very less species in such dry environment. So the most appropriate answer we can say confidently is option number B. That's it. So let us move with our next question number 15. So in question number 15, they are saying they have given four statements and in each statement there are one, two blanks. What are the blanks? I have to seeing the options go into one during winters. So bears go into hibernation during winters. Two, what to do what from the cold? To escape cold. True. So we are done with the first sentence. Let us move to the B. B is saying that we have to fill the third fill in the blank. It is saying a conical age pyramid with broad base represent dash population. So for you to solve this question, let me explain you about the age pyramids. Okay, so we actually have three types of age pyramids. One is this. I will explain you. I think you might have read this, but let us just revise it again. So what are age pyramids? Age pyramids is a way of representing. It is a way of representation of population with respect to different age groups of the designated or selected population. Okay. Now this is one type. This is what are we discussing here. You can see the base. This is the base, and this has broad base. Now in such population age graphs, the base is signifying the pre-reproductive age group. Okay. The middle are denoting the reproductive age group, and at the top we have post reproductive age group. Okay, so we saw this one graph, but let me also tell you what are the two other types of graphs. So two other types of graphs are the stable, in which the population that is, let me just draw both the graphs and then I can explain. So these are the three graphs that I have drawn. So let us see in first graph, and the even in this graph, the base and the mid and the top stays the same for each of the graph. Okay. So let us understand, in the first graph, we have a broad base. If we have a broad base, it means the pre-reproductive group is high. So if this is a high pre-reproductive group, that means in future, these high number of children that are in pre-reproductive group are going to go above in the reproductive group, and the number is going to increase. So these are going to be converted into the reproductive age group. So this is ultimately going to increase the population in the future. Okay. So broad base as signifying increasing population. Now this is a stable. Why am I saying stable? Because the pre-reproductive is equal to the reproductive. That means they are just going to simply replace. You are not going to increase the population, you are just replacing. I am repeating again, you are just replacing it. So that means the population is not going to increase, but it is going to remain stable. And here the pre less and the reproductive is more. So in future, this is going to have decline of population. So these are the three types of age pyramid curves which I've explained you. So let us use this concept and try to answer the third fill in the blanks. So if there is a broad base, there is going to be increasing population. So let us move to question. So the fourth option, that is a wasp pollinating a fig flower, is an example of. Okay, let us understand that we have a fig flower, okay, and we have a wasp. True. So, okay. So what happens in a fig flower? There has to be a process of pollination. Flower needs somebody to pollinate, and wasp needs some place to lay its egg. Correct. Now what happens? They are going to help each other. They are going to have some mutual understanding. This is the term which we use commonly, that two people, when they have to do something with each other, they need to have a mutual understanding. So what is this? The wasp is going to lay its egg inside the fig flower, and in return, this wasp is going to also do pollination. So ultimately, the wasp lays eggs in the fig flower, and this pollination is going to be done by wasp. So they are ultimately helping each other. So this is known as mutualism. Okay, this is what is known as mutualism. So the correct fill in the blank for options is going to be mutualism. Is it correct? Okay. So let us see option D. So option D is saying an area with high level of species richness is known as. So in this current lesson, we have repeated this term so many times about hotspots. Hotspots are the area of high species richness. So option the blank number 5, we can say it as hot spots. Okay, so we have correctly tried to fill in all the blanks 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let us try to see where are the options, uh, and according to the options, we will be able to mark the answer. So you simply have to find the option that is correctly being described with our form uh, 1, 2, 3, 4. So option A is saying to a stable. No, that is wrong. Option B1 is saying that is aestivation. No, that occurs in summer in some animals. But here they are talking about winter. So winter is not aestivatism, it is actually hibernation. So then option B is wrong. And option C is saying uh, 3 as expanding. Yes, we have told it to be increasing, but increasing and expanding is the same thing. So yes, third is the correct. So it is possible that C is the correct answer. But we are not just going to blindly mark it. We have to see what 4 and 5 are saying. 4 is saying commensalism. No, it is not commensalism. It is mutualism. So even option C is wrong. See, if you had been in hurry, you would have marked option C and got a -1 instead of getting +4. Okay, so it's very important to read the options, all the four options given, and then only mark your answer to be sure and to decrease your mistakes. So the D is saying one is hibernation. Yes, correct. Two is escape. Yes, still correct. Three as increasing or expanding. Yes, and fifth as hotspot. Yes. Option B is very closely matching with the list we have made. So the correct answer for this question is option number D. So concept, in this question, actually, there were use of so many concepts. There was use of concept of hibernation. There was use of concept of age pyramid. I hope you have understood this concept of age pyramid. This is actually a nice concept. They might ask you this questions based on this age pyramid. So it is very simple. You have to simply understand. If you understand, you will be able to mark the correct answer. Okay? So we have understood about age pyramids as well as we have learned a new topic of mutualism. Okay, there were 3 to 4 different questions that can be formed from this concept. Okay, so that's it. We have discussed this concept. Now let us move to the next question. The next question is saying which one of the following is an example of ex situ conservation? Oh, so again, if you solve this question, they are again asking you what is ex situ conservation. So we know whenever we have whenever we are hearing the term ex situ, it means outside natural habitat in man-made conditions. Okay, so is wildlife sanctuary a man-made? No, it is actually in the natural habitat left to the nature. So option A is in situ. Option B is seed bank. Yes, definitely. If it is a bank, it is being operated by humans. There is involvement of man, and if there is involvement of man, it means that it is not in situ but ex situ conservation. Okay. Now, but let's not just mark option B as we are here to help you decrease the number of spelling mistakes. So my advice, always have a quick glance over option C and D. So let's see option C. They are saying about sacred groves. So sacred groves are actually left. They are not intervened by anybody. If they are left as it is, not intervened by man, they are going to be called as in situ because it is present in their natural habitat uninvolved and unaffected by the man. So option C is also in situ. Let's see option D. Option C is also in situ. Why? Because these are national parks. So even here, it is just going to allow the animals and all the species to stay in their natural habitat without any involvement of man. Means there is no This is not a man-made structure. So even option D is the in situ form of conservation. So amongst the option B is the only option that is example of ex situ conservation. So you can clearly mark option B as the correct option and move ahead. Okay. So in this topic, let us revise what all concepts were being involved. Okay. So first of all, the most important concept that we have studied here was about the high species diversification found in tropical rainforest, and the most dense tropical rainforest is none other than our Amazon rainforest, okay, which is also called as the lungs of the planet. So this was one concept. Another concept was about endemic species. Third concept which we learned was about a protein is going to develop resistance against its inhibiting environmental survive. So that is because of mutation. So this was another concept we have revised. Then we have revised the what are the all factors that are related to extinction. So we had 3 to 4 topics. We have 3 to 4 not topics, 3 to 4 points that are actually contributing to extinction. So that we have discussed. And out of all, the most important was about the fragmentation and extinction of the natural habitat. Okay. Then we have understood the concept of cryopreservation. Then we have discussed about the most repetitive, repeated concept of in situ and ex situ, right? That is, what is in situ, what are the examples of in situ, and what are the examples of ex situ. This is a very important concept, and questions are going to be framed on this. So it is important that you understand that. Now, next we did understand few examples of ex situ conservation. Then we went through few examples of in situ conservation. Then we heard about the Bharatpur or the Culado National Park. We heard about the Nagarjuna tiger reservoir. Then we understood the concepts of hotspot. And we understood the concept of sacred groves. Then we understood a different concept of BT cotton and how it is going to decrease the biodiversity. Then we understood the concept of mutualism, hibernation, and the age pyramids. All right. So in this part of our series of this is the first part of discussing the previous year question of this topic, biodiversity and conservation. In the next topic, we are going to discuss about the uh, other set of previous year questions. So I hope you have understood what all concepts we have discussed in this uh, session. And I request you to join the another session that we are going to put about the second half of question that we are discussing regarding the biodiversity and conservation. Now, why am I telling you? Okay, first of all, let us discuss some takeaway points from this session. At the end of each session, we discuss the takeaway points so that you actually know of all the things we have discussed, what is the core? What is the core concept? The core concept is in situ, ex situ. We discuss these takeaway points because these are actually high yield points. Okay, these are very high yield points. So whenever you are revising this chapter, your focus should be to revise such high yield concepts first, and then you go through other concepts that are given in the chapter. Okay. Uh, According to me, amongst all the things we have discussed, in situ and ex situ is important, and you have to by heart all examples. Now, you will be able to do all the examples, but the common confusion comes is about the botanical garden. Now, we feel that botanical garden is a natural habitat and it should come under in situ, but it is actually a man-made structure. And if it is a man-made structure, it is definitely this which I have my preparation. Even you might be facing it. Remember brief discussion regarding this topic, and let us try to uh, mark the other takeaway points. The other tip actually I would like to give all of you is to make notes. Now, many a times we say that there is no need to make notes for biology. That's actually true because what we say is you mark in NCRT and you just revise the NCRT multiple times. So that is going to help you. But there are few topics, there are few chapters like this one. This chapter is filled with facts and such factual topics, it is not possible to just mark each and every line of your NCRT because actually in this topic, each and every line is very important. Correct, my friend? So what I would suggest you take a piece of sheet. Okay, take only one piece of sheet. The front and back. Try to take a plain paper, and on this single piece of sheet, write all short facts, and these facts are not the ones that are given in the textbook, right? This is where the main concept comes. You have to write what you forget. Okay, these notes are yours. These are your notes. These are not for everybody. These are personalized for you. So make them personalized. These are your notes, right? What you forget. So what happens? Many of the aspirants, what they do, they read the line, they add it to their notes. They read another line, they add it to their notes. You just don't have to do not write and make new textbook. Okay. You don't have to write the textbook again. You have to extract the points. And how are you going to do that? By write. You don't have to make the notes in the first reading. You have to read it 2 to 3 times first, and then you have to write the notes. Many of you might be doing this thing that you read the chapter, and in the second reading itself, you try to make the notes so that you are going to revise the third time from the note. No. If you're doing that, you're just rewriting the textbook and you don't have to do that. First, read the NCERT 2 to 3 times, and after that, when you have a good grip on this topic, then try to make this notes. But do make this notes because in such factual topics, in such factual topics, what you have to do is to revise this again and again. And if you want to revise this topic again and again, you need some short notes. Okay, and these notes should be made by you. Do not try to take the notes that are being made by somebody else, because if you try to take the notes that are ready made, you will not be able to feel the essence of notes, and it is very important to feel the essence of notes. Okay, so make your notes. So that are the few tips that I would like to give to you, and I request you to complete the chapters, solve the previous year question, read your books, repetitively revise it, and try to solve as many questions you can solve, so that you know where your knowledge is lacking, and try to make such notes and keep studying and revising. All the best. Thank you.